7 years into our marriage, Sophia's first love, Lucas, came back to town. He had a face almost like mine. Close enough that people noticed. Close enough that I couldn't ignore it. At our college reunion, he cornered me in the bathroom and said, "Tell me, when she's lying next to you at night, who do you think she's really thinking about? You, or me?" I hit him. And Sophia screamed at me, her voice shaking with rage. "Why don't you just go die?" She didn't know yet. But I was, in fact, dying. Lucas showed up at the college reunion like a scene from a movie, handsome, successful, flanked by admiration. He strolled past the crowd of old classmates and stopped right in front of Sophia. "It's been a long time," he said, his voice low, intimate. Just one sentence. And Sophia's eyes immediately turned red. The others burst out laughing and teasing. All these years and Lucas still only has eyes for Sophia. If she'd married him back then, she'd be Mrs. Harrington now. Hey, it's not too late. She could still divorce and upgrade. The room buzzed with it, all eyes bouncing between Lucas and Sophia like it was their reunion, not everyone else's. I sat beside her, the legal husband, a presence so invisible I might as well have been part of the furniture. I studied Lucas from across the room. His face, yeah. It was about 70% mine. Or mine was 70% his. Either way, the resemblance was no accident. I'd always known I was a stand-in. A placeholder. A substitute she settled for. Once, I swore I'd make her love me for real. That I'd earn it, slowly, with a lifetime. But now? That lifetime was almost gone. My chest felt tight, like something was clenching it from the inside. I stepped out to get some air, and ran straight into him. "Lucas." He smirked, like he'd been waiting. "Thanks for watching over Sophia all these years," he said. "But I'm back now. She doesn't need you anymore." The words hit like a brick to the ribs. I felt it all twisting inside me, lungs, heart, stomach. I kept my voice cold. Whatever happens is up to Sophia. But until then, I'm still her husband. He laughed. A cruel, effortless kind of laugh. "And what makes you think that means anything? That face of yours? Tell me, when she's in bed beside you, who's she picturing, me or you?" Every word felt like a knife. And I snapped. My fist landed square on his face with a crack I hoped he'd remember. Then I heard it. "Lucas." I turned. Sophia was rushing over, panic in her eyes. She knelt beside him, cupping his face with shaking hands, then looked up at me, furious. Her voice cut sharp and loud, 7 years of marriage, and I'd never heard her like that. "Ethan, are you out of your mind? How dare you hit him?" Other classmates had gathered, pulling Lucas up, glaring at me like I was the problem. "Seriously, Sophia, your husband? Jealousy's one thing, but violence? Honestly, if I were him, I'd do the smart thing and walk away." The room buzzed with judgment, whispers loud enough to sting. And then Sophia turned to me, eyes cold. "You've really let me down." The pain in my chest tightened, sharper now, heavier. I coughed, barely managing to swallow it back. Without another word, I turned and walked out. On the hotel steps, under the hard afternoon sun, I slowly pulled a folded sheet of paper from my pocket. It was my medical report. Ethan. Male. Late-stage stomach cancer. The sunlight caught the thin page, making it almost glow. I stared at it until my vision blurred. And then, I couldn't hold it back anymore. A mouthful of blood hit the concrete. 7 years ago, Sophia came to me with a proposal. She wanted to get married, to dodge her family's constant pressure. At the time, I'd already been in love with her for 3 years. So I said yes. No hesitation. We lived those first few years like polite strangers. But time did its quiet work. Somewhere along the way, we started to feel like something more. I held her love like a fragile piece of ice, cupped in both hands for 7 long years. I watched the walls she'd built begin to crack, slowly, carefully, beautifully. Eventually, I let myself believe she loved me too. Now I see it for what it was. Wishful thinking. At some point, I'd fallen asleep on the couch. When I opened my eyes again, I heard the door. Sophia walked in just as the wall clock struck 3 a.m. She paused when she saw I was awake, then casually took off her coat and hung it up in the closet. That coat looked familiar. Earlier that day, Lucas had been wearing it. She walked over and knelt beside the couch, reaching for my hand. "Still mad?" she asked softly. I didn't answer. Instead, I pulled my hand away and slid a folder across the table toward her. "It's the divorce papers. Look them over." She froze. 2 seconds passed. Then her face twisted into something tight, anger, maybe shame. Like I'd just called out something she hadn't admitted, even to herself. What the hell is this supposed to mean? Nothing happened with me and Lucas. We were just catching up with old classmates. Do you have to act like some petty woman over this? She shot the words like darts, one after another, each one louder than the last. And that's when my restraint finally snapped. A whole day's worth of rage, of pain, of humiliation, boiled over. What about you? In this whole 7-year marriage, was I ever your husband, or just a backup? When you kissed me, who were you thinking about? Me? Or Lucas? I didn't want to fight her. That wasn't the point. But the pain in my stomach cut sharp and deep, like blades sawing through flesh. I couldn't hold it in. Sophia went silent. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she stood, turned, and headed for the door. "Ethan, are you seriously going to die this childish?" She slammed the door behind her. And I just sat there, stunned. Maybe she was right. Even at the edge of death. I'm still this childish. Sophia hadn't come home in 2 days. I'd called her 3 times to push for the divorce. The first 2 calls, she hung up. The third, her phone went straight to voicemail. Switched off. Then I remembered, years ago, she'd added me to her Facebook classmates group. I dusted off my old laptop and logged into the account I hadn't touched in years. The group was still there. Someone had just posted photos, private hangouts among our college crowd. I scrolled through them one by one. And there she was. Sophia. In Lucas's arms, clearly drunk. Her body slumped against him like she belonged there. I stared at each photo. Not fast. Not skipping. Then, quietly, I typed a message into the group chat. "Come home. Let's sign the divorce papers." She responded faster than I expected. "What's wrong with you now?" A few seconds later, another notification popped up. "You've been removed from the group." Her phone still wasn't taking calls. But then the doorbell rang. I pressed a hand to the dull throb in my stomach and got up to answer it. "Maria?" Sophia's mother stood there, arms full of bags, smiling through the dust of a long trip. "Didn't you say your stomach's been acting up?" "I brought some medicine from the hospital. And a few things to eat, you know, the stuff you two like." She set the bags down at the door, prescriptions, groceries, care wrapped in plastic and string. Suddenly, my throat tightened. This sweet old woman had traveled all the way from 15 miles out, arms loaded with love, and she didn't know yet. Didn't know that no medicine was going to save me now. After some hesitation, I finally brought it up. "Maria, I've been thinking. I think Sophia and I should get a divorce." A dull thud. The cup slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor, hot water spreading like shock. I rushed forward, but she grabbed my wrist instead. "Did you two fight? If she did something wrong, tell me. I'll talk to her." "No," I cut her off gently. "It's me. Something's broken between us. It's not her fault." I had no intention of dragging Sophia's mess out in front of her mother. Maria had treated me like her own son for 7 years. Whatever Sophia had done, Maria wasn't to blame for it. Just then, I heard the front door unlock. Sophia walked in. "Seriously, Ethan? It wasn't enough to make a scene at home, you had to take it outside too?" But the moment she saw Maria sitting there, her voice froze mid-accusation. Maria turned to look, right past Sophia. At Lucas. He stepped in right behind her, casual, unbothered. "I don't know if you remember me, but I'm Lucas. I had dinner with you before I went to the UK. Maria didn't say a word. Her expression was ice. And the room sank into silence, heavy and awkward. Sophia stepped forward, but Maria caught her by the wrist. "Tell me, are you divorcing Ethan because of him?" Sophia's expression shifted, impatient. "Mom, stay out of it. This is between me and Ethan. We'll handle it ourselves." Slap. The sound cut the air like a crack of thunder. Maria's hand trembled as she pointed at Lucas, eyes burning. "Nonsense. You think he really loves you? If he did, he wouldn't have left you and run off to the UK in the first place." Sophia's face lit up with anger. That slap had struck more than her cheek, it had hit something deeper. The fire rose instantly, and mother and daughter were suddenly shouting, voices climbing over each other, heat surging through the room. But I was no longer watching their argument. I was watching Maria's face. Something was wrong. "Stop." I rushed forward, reaching out to steady her. "Are you okay?" Maria had a heart attack and was rushed to the hospital. Thankfully, it wasn't fatal. We sat at her bedside, Sophia and I, quiet now, chastened. Maria gripped my hand tightly, tears streaking down her cheeks. "Ethan. Sophia's just being foolish. She's always been like this since she was little. Just give her time. She'll come to her senses." I stayed silent. Her hand patted mine, trembling and soft. "All these years, I've seen you like my own son. I only recognize you as my son-in-law. My health, maybe I've got a year or two left, tops. If you two divorce, I don't think I'll have the will to keep going." My throat tightened. I couldn't take it, watching this woman beg through tears. So I took a deep breath and nodded. "Okay." She finally relaxed, like a great weight had been lifted. Out in the hallway, I pressed a hand to my gut, pain slicing through me like a hot wire. Still, I turned to Sophia. "Let me know when you're free. We'll finalize the divorce." She blinked. "Didn't you just say?" That was for her. The pain burned deeper, but my voice was level, cold. "She doesn't need more to worry about. I'll send over the finalized agreement." "No." Sophia's brows furrowed. "Ethan, can we not do this right now? You're making something out of nothing. Lucas is just a friend. He only just got back, and everyone's been meeting up, that's all. Besides, we agreed. Him coming back wouldn't affect our marriage." I laughed. Couldn't help it. Was just about to answer when her face suddenly shifted. Her expression changed, guarded, nervous. I turned around. Lucas was walking down the corridor, carrying a gift bag like this was a dinner party, not a hospital. Sophia, who a moment ago was arguing fiercely against divorce, went dead silent. The pain in my stomach clenched harder. I could barely stay on my feet. I didn't have the strength to argue anymore. I looked at Sophia one last time. "I'll send you the papers." And I walked away. This time, she didn't object. She just stood there, next to Lucas. Silent. And chose nothing. Midnight. The office was dark. Sophia was fumbling through drawers in the pitch black, searching, quiet, methodical, but desperate. She'd already gone through almost every one. She didn't know I was there. I sat in the corner on a small couch, watching her quietly. Lately, the company had been gearing up for a major bid. A high-stakes contract. One that could change everything. Lucas had just returned from abroad, hungry to carve out a slice of the domestic market, and he had his eyes on this bid too. It made perfect sense he'd come after it. And Sophia? She came to help him. She came to steal our proposal. 7 years of marriage, every last shred of warmth, every trace of loyalty, snuffed out in this one moment. In the dark, I held the sealed proposal folder in my hand and spoke softly. Looking for this? Ah. Her scream cracked the silence, and I saw her nearly collapse with shock. When I flipped on the lights, her face was pale, eyes wide, lips trembling, completely thrown. Ethan. She finally managed my name, but her voice was small. Weak. And then, just as I expected, Lucas appeared at the doorway. He must have seen the lights turn on from the parking lot below. I turned to Sophia, my voice low but steady. If you hadn't come for the bid, I might have still let us part with a little dignity. Sophia bit her lip. Lucas just got back, this bid is really important for him. And it's not important for my company? She didn't answer. She didn't have to. She knew. This bid meant everything to us, months of work, the future of the team, our entire momentum. And still, she chose to help Lucas. Before she could respond, Lucas stepped in, sliding between us like a smug wall. I told her to get it. So what? This company's half Sophia's anyway. Why shouldn't she take it? He looked me up and down, smirking under the fluorescent lights. Ethan, now that I'm back, this bid? It's mine. Sophia too. I knew he was baiting me. I knew. But rage slammed into my chest, thick and choking, and I snapped. You son of a bitch. My fist connected with his face. He staggered, but lunged right back. We were locked in a brawl, fists flying, bodies crashing into furniture. Ethan. Stop. What are you doing? Sophia's voice cracked in panic as she rushed in, trying to pull us apart. And then. Slap. She slapped me. Loud. Sharp. Not painful. But loud enough to freeze the air. She looked stunned, as if even she couldn't believe she'd done it. Her hand was still raised, fingers trembling. I didn't mean to. The pain in my stomach twisted like a knife. Exhaustion crashed down like a wave. I bent down, grabbed the fallen bid proposal off the floor. But as I stood, a violent cough tore through me. I covered my mouth, and felt blood on my palm. Sophia didn't notice. She was still talking. Still begging. Ethan, please, this bid is huge for Lucas. Can't you just let it go? Please. That was it. I said nothing. Didn't look at her. I turned and walked out of the office, the bid folder in hand, each step heavier than the last. I was done with Sophia. But this bid? This bid, I would not lose. Caleb's been with me for 8 years. Back when I first started the company, he was the first person I hired. Just a kid fresh out of school. He stuck with me through every rough patch, every all-nighter, every climb. I trust him. And he's the only one who knows I'm sick. When he first saw the diagnosis, I didn't cry. He did. Drank himself sick, threw up 3 times, and then sat there holding on to me, crying like a kid. I handed him the bid proposal. In the office, I clapped him on the shoulder. This one's on you now. Don't let Sophia get her hands on anything related to the bid. Got it. Then he cursed under his breath. Can't believe she turned out to be like this. I said nothing. I should have seen it sooner. She's always been like this. I took a sip of warm water, then looked up at him. Caleb, I don't have much time left. I built this company from scratch. I can't hand it over to her. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to start phasing her out of everything. Once I'm gone, it's yours. I gave his shoulder another firm pat. Me? His voice shot up, startled. You're not planning to sell? No. I'm dying, I don't need money. But this company can't end up in Sophia's hands. It's everything I've built. If I'm not around to protect it, you will. I grinned, even as I pressed hard against the pain in my gut. Still couldn't block it out. You've been here since day one. 8 years. Every step we've taken, you were there. If anyone can carry this forward, it's you. I trust you. Lucas lost. Badly. He had the money, but no roots. No network. No chance. Despite the pain, I forced myself into the office every day, overseeing the transition, finalizing documents, locking in the handover plan. Everything was lined up. Once I was gone, Caleb would take full control. Sophia wouldn't get a dime. It felt like writing a will. But this company was my life's work. Even in death, I wouldn't leave it to her. Sophia never had much patience. Less than a week later, my phone lit up with her name. Ethan, are you seriously pushing me out of the company? That's right. The company was founded before our marriage. It's not marital property. There was a pause. I heard her take a sharp breath. I don't agree. Ethan, if I don't sign the divorce, you can't end this. Do what you want. I've already moved out. She was digging her heels in, but I didn't have the strength to fight anymore. I'd left the house. The one I bought before we got married. Paid for it. Renovated it. Chose every inch of it. But I couldn't stand the thought of Lucas living there after I was gone, sleeping in my bed, walking my floors. So before my body gave out, I hired a demolition crew. I want it all ripped out, I told them. Every inch of it. One of the workers took the cigarette I offered and glanced around. This place is beautiful. Why gut it? I lit one myself. The smoke burned my lungs and stabbed my chest, but I smiled anyway. I just don't want to see it anymore. He didn't ask anything else. Just got to work. And I stood at the door in a mask, watching the dust rise, watching everything that had once belonged to us, every memory, every quiet Sunday morning, every laugh in the kitchen, get pounded into rubble. Good. Better this way. I won't give myself a reason to ever come back. After gutting the house, I sold it cheap. Spent a few nights in a hotel. Then my body gave out. Now I'm in a hospital bed. Caleb visits often. He moves fast, like always, pours a fresh kettle of hot water, sets it by my bed, and drops into the chair beside me. You know the thing with Sophia trying to steal the bid, he says. Yeah, the whole company knows. I glance at him. He raises both hands like he's swearing into court. Wasn't me. Security saw it on the cameras. Word just got around. Then he mutters under his breath. Serves her right. It's the weekend. Caleb comes again, this time carrying a thermos of his mom's homemade spaghetti. It smells good. I can't finish a single strand. He sits by my side, watching me struggle. Bro, I reassigned all of Sophia's people to other departments. They're in dead-end positions now. No power. No leverage. Everyone under her. They answer to us. I manage a smile. Then another wave of stomach pain tightens my chest. Oh. Caleb lights up like he just remembered something funny. You'll love this. Yesterday, Sophia tried sneaking around to the project manager. Guess what she was after? She wanted to go behind your back and set up a lowball collab with Lucas's company. Total flop. She left humiliated. Ended up screaming at Lucas right in front of the building. He's laughing now. Everyone in the office was watching from the windows. Lucas was full-on raging, yelling at her to do something to convince us to agree. It was wild. He shakes his head and scoffs. Seriously, how could she not see what she had? She gave you up, for him? I can't help it, I chuckle, pain be damned. The laugh tugs something inside me, and I wince. Hospital days are slow. The meds are bitter. The air smells like bleach. But at least there's one bright spot. Ethan, cats go meow, dogs go woof, ducks go quack, what do chickens do? They cross the road. Noah. The kid in the bed next to mine. Barely looks 20. Still baby-faced. He's 2 years younger than me. Stage 4. Stomach cancer. Metastatic. And somehow, he's still the class clown of the ward. Every day, he tells a different dumb joke. To me. To the doctors. To the nurses sticking IVs in his arms. Even the janitor lady doesn't leave the room until Noah's hit her with a one-liner. The kid's a one-man comedy club. But in all this time, I've never seen a single family member visit him. Not once. Of course, no one visited me either. 7 years ago, I moved here to be with Sophia, left my hometown, my brothers, my entire life, over 1,000 miles away. Work and Sophia became my whole world. And somehow, in all that time, I never made another friend. Ethan. You spacing out again? Noah's voice cut through the quiet. He was lying flat on his back, arms limp, a mess of 4 bags dripping slowly from the pole beside his bed. Chemo. He'd just been forced to swallow a handful of pills by a bossy nurse. Still wincing, he turned his head toward me. Ethan, I'm gonna sing for you. I love singing. Then he did. Completely off-key, nasal and loud. The kind of singing that should have been annoying, but somehow, it wasn't. I laughed. For the first time all day. It snowed today. Caleb showed up again. Snow's here, he said, shaking flakes off his coat. My mom knitted me 2 scarves. You're getting one. He wrapped it around my neck, thick, soft, warm. Then he poured hot water into my thermos and sat down beside the bed. Sophia came by last night, he said. Middle of the night. Drunk. Said she and Lucas had another fight. Wanted your number. I didn't give it to her. I felt better than usual today. Took a careful sip from the thermos. What does she want with me? Caleb snorted. Classic heartbreak. She thought Lucas was her soulmate. Turns out, they can't stand each other. Guy's selfish as hell, told her to steal the bid, lowball the deal, do all the dirty work. No surprise it didn't last. He refilled my cup, then leaned back. She's just realizing now who actually treated her right. She stood outside my place last night crying, swearing she couldn't find you anywhere. Said she keeps thinking about the old days with you. Honestly, I almost threw up. I said nothing. Those old days she missed. I'd already buried them. Caleb picked up on the silence, and, bless him, he pivoted fast. Anyway, good news. Company picked up 2 new projects. Things are looking solid. And Sophia? Don't worry. Whether you 2 get divorced or not, she's never seeing a dime from us again. Good. Thanks for everything. He hesitated, then pulled a document from his bag. Donation file you asked for. But, you sure about this? You don't want to keep something back. What if the treatment works? No need, I said. I know my body. I won't be around much longer. I've kept enough for the hospital bills. The rest, let's do some good with it. I signed. And for the first time in weeks, I felt light. I just signed away everything I owned, apart from what I'd need for my final stretch. All of it would go to the Red Cross. Because honestly, giving it to charity is still better than leaving it to Sophia. Half a month later, I got a call from Sophia. Ethan. She paused, her voice soft, almost sheepish. I've been looking for you everywhere. It wasn't easy getting your number. Same as always. Whenever she screwed up and didn't know what to say, she defaulted to that breathy, weightless way of saying my name. A familiar heaviness pressed against my chest. I turned my head, eyes drifting toward the window. Didn't really feel like talking. What is it? How have you been lately? I glanced up at the floor rack, cluttered with tangled lines and bags of chemo drugs. Great, I said flatly. Silence. It stretched until my patience wore thin, and I was about to hang up, when she spoke again. I just wanted to ask, how did you make that steak you used to cook for me? I stared at the phone, expression unreadable. They serve it at every restaurant, I said. She hesitated. Lucas wants me to make it. But I don't know how. 7 years together, and she'd never once set foot in the kitchen. I almost laughed. Didn't say another word. Just hung up. When I turned, Noah was craning his neck from the other bed, grinning. Was that your wife? Ex-wife, I corrected. He clicked his tongue. You actually got divorced, huh? We talked about everything, chemo, nurses, death, but never much about personal history. He rubbed his smooth scalp, freshly shaved after another round of chemo. Well, hey. At least you had a marriage. Me? I'm probably about to hit the grave without ever making it to the grave of love. I was gagging down another round of meds, shoved at me by our nurse like usual, when Sophia sent me a friend request. I didn't accept. A few minutes later, she sent it again. This time, I clicked accept. Immediately, a message came through. A photo. An old journal, its cover dusty and yellowed with age. She'd found it in a box of books she accidentally took with her when she moved out. Sophia. Found this with the books I packed. Must have grabbed it by mistake. Me. Okay. Throw it out. Thanks. It took her a long time to reply. Sophia. Do you really have to be this cold? Ethan, we're not even divorced yet. Do you really have to push me away like this? I stared at the screen and actually laughed. So now I was the one being too harsh. Me? I slipped the phone under my pillow and closed my eyes. Ethan. Noah's voice broke the silence. Those pills suck, huh? Here, stole this from Lila. Lila was our ward's nurse. Mid-20s. Tough, funny, and one of the only people in this place who treated us like we were still human. I took the candy Noah handed me, unwrapped it, and stuck it on my tongue. The sweetness hit instantly. But my mouth was too bitter. The sugar didn't last. My phone buzzed again. And again. Non-stop under the pillow. Finally, I yanked it out. Another message from Sophia. Sophia. Sorry. I read your journal. There's a girl in there that reminded me of myself. But I'm not sure it was me. I've been holding back from asking, but I can't anymore. When you married me, even knowing Lucas existed, were you also using me as someone else's stand-in? Sophia's question. Honestly, it was almost funny. I didn't even feel the urge to reply. So I didn't. And she never messaged me again. The truth? The girl in that journal was her. Back then, things were innocent. Awkward. Unspoken. I filled pages and pages, but never once wrote her name. She was someone I loved in silence. Someone I admired from a distance. So when she looked at those old words, she couldn't recognize herself in them. Too much time had passed. Too many small things had faded from her memory. She couldn't line herself up with the girl on the page. And I had no intention of helping her. Noah had actually been doing better lately. Me? Not so much. Winter was coming. Sometimes, the nurses opened the window for a few minutes, and the cold wind would rush in, cutting through the stale air. Lately, I'd had this strange feeling, like I might not make it through the season. But I wasn't afraid. After the 4th round of treatment, I don't know what happened. I blacked out. Couldn't move. Couldn't speak. Just this strange, half-awake fog where I could hear everything, muffled, distant, but there. Nurses talking fast. The ringtone on my phone. Someone answering it. Then. Noah's voice, shouting like his life depended on it. "You're Ethan's ex-wife, right? Get to the hospital, fast. He's not gonna make it." A pause. Then Sophia. Her voice sharp. Cold. Can he stop being such a child? Playing the victim again? Why doesn't he just go ahead and die already? So loud. Everything was so loud. And I thought. This is it. I'm actually dying. The noise faded. The world went black. And then. I woke up. Still in the hospital. Still breathing. Everything was white. The walls. The sheets. The light. And Sophia. Sitting beside the bed. Pale. Eyes swollen red. Hands wrapped tight around mine like she was afraid I'd vanish again. I frowned, blinking at her. Yeah. It was really her. She looked at me like she'd been crying for hours. "Ethan. I thought you were just trying to scare me into signing the divorce. Why didn't you tell me you were this sick?" I slowly pulled my hand out of hers. No expression on my face. God, it hurt. If I'd known it would hurt this much, maybe dying would have been the better option. Sophia collapsed at the edge of the bed, crying into her arms, saying something in a choked whisper. Her words blurred into static. I didn't catch a single one. My stomach felt like it had a blade inside, twisting, slicing, tearing through me from the inside out. Worse than death. She clung to my hand like a lifeline, smearing tears and snot all over my skin. Disgusting. I wanted to shove her away, but I couldn't even lift my arm anymore. Then I heard footsteps. I turned my head, barely. Lucas. He walked in, calm as ever, and put a hand on her shoulder. "Let's go." "I'm not leaving." Sophia practically buried her face into my arm. "I'm staying here with him. Ethan's dying. How could I possibly leave him alone right now?" The pain shot from my gut to my throat, and I wanted to say, "Please. Just leave me the hell alone." Lucas' expression darkened. "Sophia, you keep stalling the divorce, fine. I gave you time. But what now? You gonna rot away in this dump with a dying man?" "Yes." She screamed it, red-eyed and shaking. "I'm staying right here with him. I don't care if I die doing it, I'm not leaving. I'm not divorcing him." Lucas snapped. "Fine. Good. Perfect." He said "fine" 3 times, each one louder than the last. "Sophia, open your damn eyes. He's dying. What the hell is he going to give you?" Before he could finish, Sophia slapped him. Hard. The sound cracked through the room like a whip. She was trembling all over. "Get out." Lucas stared at her, stunned. Then he turned and slammed the door behind him. End-stage cancer hurts everywhere. You don't just feel it in your stomach, it creeps into your bones, your lungs, your spine. It makes your soul ache. I curled into the bed and rode out the wave. Sophia came back. She set a food container on the table beside the bed and unscrewed the lid. Just try a little, she said gently. Beef and vegetable soup. I made it for you. Maria taught me. Took me forever just to get it close. I kept my eyes shut. The smell of the soup hit me and turned my stomach. She scooped a spoonful and held it up to my mouth. Just taste it. Ugh. The smell curled up through my nose like smoke. I leaned over the bed, retching. It all came up, everything. Bitter, burning. Some of it splashed on her dress. Sophia, who used to be obsessive about cleanliness, didn't flinch. Didn't even step back. Her eyes were red. She held my shoulders gently, trying to steady me. Ethan, what's happening? Are you okay? There's blood. She screamed. Nurse. Nurse, help. He's throwing up blood. It rang in my ears. So loud. But really. What's the panic? It's not the first time. It won't be the last. Lila came running in. As she checked my vitals, she still had the bandwidth to soothe Sophia. It's okay. He just threw up a little blood. Let's get him stable first. Before she left, her eyes landed on the thermos on the nightstand. She frowned. Soups like that, too oily. Don't give him anything like this again. Sophia bit her lip. Okay. After Lila left, Sophia sat back down beside the bed, carefully tucking in the corners of my blanket. I hadn't looked in a mirror in weeks. But now, in the reflection of her eyes, I caught a glimpse of myself. Bald, just like Noah. Skin clinging to bone. Hollowed out, colorless. Disgusting. She reached for my hand again, slowly, like testing the edge of a blade. Ethan. I'm done with Lucas. Really. It's over. She started crying again. I kept refusing the divorce because I was afraid I'd regret it. I know I shouldn't have been like this, trying to make up for what I lost when we were young, and still clinging to the way you treated me all those years. My mom was right. I really do regret it. Her voice cracked. When I asked you about the steak, it wasn't for Lucas. I just wanted to hear your voice. I couldn't think of any excuse, so I made one up. And the journal. Ethan, the girl in your journal, was it me? I closed my eyes. Pain wrapped itself around my spine and squeezed. Every nerve felt like it was being chewed raw. I couldn't answer. From the other bed, Noah's voice drifted over. He's in too much pain. Give the guy a break. Then, louder, theatrical. Fine. It was me. I'm the girl in the journal, okay? Happy now? Winter was thinning out. And so was I. I could feel myself slipping, inch by inch. But there was no fear in it anymore. Just clarity. One last thing to do before I go. I asked Caleb to help me draw up a divorce agreement, had it printed and brought to the hospital. Sophia had fallen asleep at my bedside. When it was ready, I nudged her awake. Take a look. If everything looks fine, sign it. He raised the bed so I could sit up, my back against the headboard. Sophia stared at the papers for a long time. Then suddenly, her hands shook, and she tore it to pieces. No. Ethan, she said through tears, I told you, I don't care if you're dying. I'm not divorcing you. I let out a small laugh. It hurt everywhere. I glanced at Caleb. He got the message and pulled out another copy from his folder. I printed 20 of them, he said. Rip away. He handed her the next copy. She sobbed. And ripped it in half again. But in the end, she didn't have the strength. After tearing up the 8th copy, Sophia sat there, staring at the shredded paper strewn across the bed. And then she started crying. "Ethan, you're like this already, and you still want a divorce?" "Yes." Every word took effort. My voice cracked from pain. "Even if I'm dying, I still want out." "Why?" I looked at her. "Because for me, marriage is built on love. And I don't love you anymore. This marriage was all betrayal and rot. It makes me sick." The light in her eyes dimmed, piece by piece, until there was nothing left. She covered her face and broke down, full-on sobbing. The sound echoed through the room and didn't stop for a long, long time. When she finally quieted down, she called out, voice shaking, "Ethan, I'll let you go." Then, with trembling hands, she picked up the latest copy of the agreement and signed her name. Her fingers shook so badly she dropped the pen twice. I held the signed document in my hand and let out a long breath. Finally, I could leave clean, without dragging the filth of this marriage with me. At 8 a.m., they rushed Noah into the ER. Just last night, he was still cracking jokes before bed. He was wearing that oversized hospital gown, grinning, delivering a punchline. He always laughed at his own jokes first, laughed harder than anyone. Halfway through laughing, he let out a sigh. "Ethan, you think for guys like us, no family, no friends, when we die, will anyone even show up to our funerals?" He smiled when he said it. Next morning, he didn't wake up. I looked over and he was unconscious. "Lila." When the nurses came to wheel him out, I grabbed Lila's hand with what little strength I had left. "I have money. I'll pay whatever it takes. Please, please tell the doctors they have to save him." Lila patted my hand, her voice tight with emotion. "I know," she whispered. Then she turned and went with them. I stared at his empty bed, and felt like the world had come unglued. I waited for hours. Didn't eat. Didn't drink. Sophia was near tears. "Ethan, please, just drink a little water, okay?" I pushed her hand away. Then I saw Lila. She walked in slowly, eyes red, like she'd been crying. My heart leapt. "Where's Noah? Did he make it? Is he coming back?" She didn't answer right away. Didn't need to. I saw it in her silence. But I asked anyway, clinging to it. "Say something. Is he outside the door pretending to play dead, trying to freak me out?" Lila choked on the words. "He's gone. They couldn't save him." And just like that, all the strength in my body vanished. I was supposed to cry. But I didn't. I just sat there, stunned. Then laughed. Because we made a pact. No funerals. No deaths. We were both supposed to survive. But he went first. Noah's death took with it the last bit of hope I had left. I've lived in this city for 8 years. My parents died long ago. My friends are scattered thousands of miles away. The woman I loved left me. And in the hardest, most brutal stretch of it all, Noah was the one who stayed. When we were too sick to take care of ourselves, we hired nurses. But when we had a little strength, we took care of each other. We weren't just roommates in a cancer ward. We were brothers. Chemo hurt like hell. The meds were bitter. And the nights in this place felt carved out of pure loneliness. If we hadn't held each other up, we wouldn't have made it this far. But now, it's just me. Noah didn't leave much behind. A couple bags of cheap snacks he used to sneak under his pillow. 2 old t-shirts. I paid for his burial. Found a plot. Took care of the arrangements. I just wish my body wasn't this broken. I couldn't go to the funeral. Couldn't even stand long enough to give a eulogy. He had a journal, though. I read it. Page after page. I regret not telling the girl I liked how I felt. Not even once. Mom, you lied to me. You said when the medicine's bitter, you just tell a joke, and suddenly it tastes sweet. But I told 8 jokes today, and the meds still tasted like garbage. New guy in the ward. 2 years older than me. Got the same stupid disease. Sucks for him. But hey, sucks for all of us. I'm almost out of jokes. Maybe that means I'm almost out of time too. If I go first, I know Ethan's gonna read this. So here's a secret, Lila's candy stash is in the second drawer on the left. You're on your own now, bro. The journal was thick. By the end, my eyes were burning. I dragged myself to the sink and splashed cold water on my face. When Lila came in to give me my shot, I stopped her. Lila, can I tell you a joke? I didn't even get the first word out. She burst into tears. The day after Noah died, they brought in someone new. A woman in her 50s. Late-stage cancer. Quiet. Sophia noticed how shaken I was. She started staying in the room all day. Wouldn't leave, no matter how many times I told her to. And I don't know what it is, but I can feel it. This body's giving up. Like I'm being hollowed out from the inside. Feels like maybe it's almost time. Time to go see my parents. I must have dozed off after lunch. That kind of heavy sleep where dreams blur into nothing. By the time I woke up, the sky outside had turned orange. Sophia had fallen asleep too, her head resting beside the bed. She'd been staying every night lately, curled up on the hospital's flimsy fold-out cot. Her hair was a mess. Her dark circles were worse than mine. I watched her for a while. Then I said the first words I'd spoken to her in days. Do you still have my journal? I want to see it. She jolted awake, eyes wide, confused. Then she nodded quickly. Yeah, I still have it. I'll go get it now. Thanks. My face didn't change. She stumbled as she stood, legs asleep from how she'd been curled up, nearly falling. But she caught herself. Then she ran. Less than 30 minutes later, she was back, breathless, holding the thick notebook in both hands. Here, your journal. I took it. Then asked the nurse to help me into my wheelchair. It was electric. I could move on my own. Sophia followed me, confused, not knowing where I was headed. Down the hall. Into the elevator. Out behind the hospital to the open space out back. The wind was sharp. I pulled my coat tighter around me. I placed the journal on the cold concrete. Pulled a lighter from my pocket. Lit it. The flames caught instantly, orange tongues licking at the paper, devouring one page after another. The book that had carried my youth, my hopes, every secret I never said out loud, burned. Sophia froze. Then screamed. No. She lunged toward the fire. Reached out. The flames snapped back. Her hand recoiled, burned. Don't do this. She tore off her coat to smother the fire, but I stopped her. Even at the edge of death, I held my ground. Sophia, I said quietly. This was my journal. She was sobbing now, voice cracked and breaking. But it was for me. It's the only thing you left me. I know you won't forgive me, but can't you at least leave me something to remember you by? The journal was nearly gone. Only smoke and ash left. I looked at her, calm. Lighter. Somehow, freer. And I corrected her. That journal wasn't written for you. It was written for the girl she used to be. For the version of Sophia who no longer existed. I left her there with the ashes, and turned my wheelchair back toward the building. I was weak. Slower than ever. But I moved forward. When life edges toward its final breath. And you're finally able to sever every last tie. You feel clean. I was happy. Behind me, Sophia broke down. Her sobs cracked through the cold air. Shattered. Desperate. But I didn't turn back. I never made it back to the room. Somewhere between the lobby doors, everything went black. I slipped off the chair and hit the floor hard. Screams. Footsteps. Lila's voice. Too loud. Louder than Noah's worst jokes. God, it hurt. Why does it still hurt when you're this close to death? I thought. Maybe I should tell a joke. It's so cold. Everything's dark. And yet. I saw them. My parents. No white hair. No slouched backs. Just like they were before they died. Mom. Dad. I can't hold on anymore. I'm coming home.
Sophia's extra perspective is next. I fell for Ethan the first time I saw him. Because he had a face that looked 70% like Lucas. I knew being someone's stand-in was the cruelest role you could cast in love. But I couldn't help it. I missed Lucas too much. I clung to Ethan. Teased him, tested him. Then one night, drunk and desperate, right after Lucas posted his new girlfriend, I used the excuse of my family pressuring me to get married. Ethan, I said, why don't we just get married? He agreed, without hesitation. God, what an idiot. The next day we got married. And just like that, our 7-year marriage began. And Ethan, he was good to me. So good. He spoiled me, protected me, put me first in everything. Whatever he had, he gave me. Whatever he didn't, he worked until he got it, just to hand it to me. In 7 years, I didn't do a single load of laundry. Never cooked. Never cleaned. I lived like a queen, and he never once made me feel guilty for it. Somewhere along the way, I started falling for him. Hard. I honestly forgot, that the reason I married him in the first place was because of his resemblance to Lucas. But when you're inside something, it's hard to see clearly. Until I left him for Lucas. Only then did I realize I wasn't in love with Lucas at all. I'd let him go a long time ago. What I couldn't let go of was the humiliation, the heartbreak, the unfinished story I thought I could rewrite. But it was too late. Ethan sold our home. And before he did, he had everything in it demolished. He didn't even hesitate, just erased all traces of our shared life like it never existed. He must have hated me completely. I saw him again in the hospital. He was just a shadow of the man I remembered. Thin, hollowed out, eyes sunken, barely able to sit upright. My heart broke. Like actually broke. But he didn't even want to see me. He had 20 copies of the divorce papers printed, just so I couldn't stall by tearing them up. He told me he'd rather die than stay married to me. When I heard him say that, I wanted to go back in time and slap the version of myself who made every wrong choice. But I tried to comfort myself with one thing, that he had loved me once. That thick journal, page after page, in his handwriting, proof that I had mattered to him. But he burned it, with his own hands. Even in that state, barely able to walk, he dragged himself out of the hospital, onto the concrete behind the building, and set fire to the only thing I had left of our past. And in the glow of those flames, I finally saw it. The way he looked at me, there was no love left in it. Just cold, quiet disgust. When the journal turned to ash, he turned away. And in his wheelchair, shaking with exhaustion, he rolled himself back inside, and left me behind. And then, he never came back. After all that pain, maybe death was a kind of relief for him. But still, the last thing he chose to do before dying was to burn the journal that held all his love for me. That day, watching the flames devour those pages, I think my heart died in that fire, too. After Ethan passed, I wandered through life in a fog. I didn't cry. I didn't speak much. I just existed. What I didn't expect was for Lucas to come back into the picture. Again, he always did have that blind, inflated sense of self-worth. Freshly returned from overseas, he rushed into the domestic market like it was his for the taking. Invested recklessly. Lost money fast. And now, Now his company was bleeding out, circling bankruptcy. That's when he came to me, red-eyed, desperate. "Sophia, please," he begged. "I need your help." I looked at him, really looked at him. This man who had once taken up so much space in my heart. All I felt now was disgust. Because if it hadn't been for him, maybe Ethan and I would have been happy. In that moment, I saw it clearly for the first time. Lucas couldn't hold a candle to Ethan. Not in strength, not in character, not in anything that mattered. He asked me to move funds from the company, to help him just this once. I laughed coldly. "You do realize I have no access to the company anymore, right? I don't get a single cent, let alone enough to cover your mess." He stared at me like I was speaking another language. "That's not possible," he said, grabbing my wrist. "You and Ethan just signed the divorce. He's dead now. Whatever he left behind is yours. Even if he donated his share, half the company should still be." "Don't." I yanked my hand away. "Don't you dare. Ethan is gone. And so is everything." His panic showed in every inch of his face. "Sophia, please. This is just a loan. Help me get through this, and I'll pay you back. We can get married. Doesn't that mean anything to you?" He reached out, tried to pull me into his arms. And I snapped. "Are you insane?" I shoved him hard. "Lucas, we ended a long time ago. How much clearer do I need to be? Stop clinging to something that doesn't exist anymore." My voice cracked. "I have nothing left." I laughed bitterly. Ethan made sure of that before he died. The house, the savings, the company. Not a penny came to me. He even burned the damn journal he wrote for me, just to make sure I couldn't keep a single piece of him. Lucas's eyes burned red. "You think I'm an idiot?" He scoffed, voice full of venom. "Ethan loved you. You expect me to believe he didn't leave you anything. Get in the car. You're taking me to that company." He yanked the passenger door open and shoved me in before I could react. I scrambled for the handle, but it was too late. Locked. "Let me out!" I shouted, slamming my hand against the glass. Lucas hit the gas. Hard. The car sped toward the direction of the company building. He was out of his mind. I tried the door again, no use. I pulled out my phone and dialed for help. "Hello. I need the police." "You crazy," Lucas growled, reaching across the console to grab the phone. I twisted my body away, shielding the device with my back, trying to hold him off. We struggled. And in that split second, Lucas ran a red light. Straight into an oncoming truck. Boom. A sound like the sky splitting in half. Then, nothing. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. This time, I was the one surrounded by machines. Maria sat beside me, her eyes swollen from crying. She told me Lucas died instantly in the crash. I didn't. But I wouldn't be walking again. Both legs still there. No feeling in either. Couldn't even feel when I needed the bathroom. Couldn't move without help. When I heard that, I didn't say anything. Not for a long time. I didn't cry. Didn't scream. I just sat there, smiling and crying at the same time. Ethan's face flickering again and again in my mind. My mother wept beside me. "It's karma," she sobbed. "It's all karma." I tried to smile again, but I couldn't. I had nothing now. No house. No company. No money. No Ethan. All I had was a 2-inch photo of him I kept under my pillow. I slept with it every night. But I never dreamed of him. Not once. Even in dreams. He wouldn't look at me. There were nights I woke up in tears, choking on regret. Nights that felt endless. And eventually, I had no choice but to accept the one thing that hurt more than everything else. Ethan really doesn't love me anymore.